Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Comment Section. That's right. You know, guys, there have been a lot of times during this quarantine time. I guess some quarantine stuff was starting to lift, and now we're getting worse again. But that's not what this show's about. There have been a lot of times I thought, you know what, we're not going to have a lot of entertainment news, but every once in a while, they do drop something big.
Yes.
And there's one thing that I've been waiting to talk about on here, like, for a while. Just chomping at the bit, just being like, all right, when are we going to discuss this? And you probably know what it is. You all probably know.
Yes.
But first, maybe we should start with, well, I mean, usually on Unwanted Answers, we talk about what has been going on, but but we don't do that in here. So I guess what we can do is ask, what have you been watching lately?
Yes, that's kind of the equivalent one on this show. I had a couple interesting things happen with rewatching things over the past few weeks. I thought I'd bring them up because I have mentioned both of these shows so much, and after another rewatch, a very weird thing happened where first I think I mentioned on the last what we were watching that I'm rewatching Arrested Development.
Oh, I don't think you did.
Well,
we know now, don't we?
And I just finished the entire series again, or I should say for the first time, because this is weird, but I was getting through season 5, and at a certain point I was just like, wow, I really don't remember this. Like, I was so weirded out. Like, I remembered it, and then suddenly I was like, I don't remember this at all anymore. And I had to do some research, and apparently season 5 was split into 2 parts, and I had no idea. The first 8 episodes came out in like 2018, and then the second 8 episodes, the final 8 episodes came out a year later. And I think I just assumed in 2018 when they released those 8 episodes that was season 5. And I was just watching it and like, what is happening? And I may have also mentioned before that I despite seasons 4 and 5 getting a lot of criticism from people, for a while, I would say I liked every season of Arrested Development. But the last half that I didn't know existed wasn't very good. And now I'm cursed with the knowledge. I was living in this blissful existence where there was this short 8-episode season 5 that was pretty good. And then I cursed myself.
How did you not know about the other season? Was it just it switched from like network to streaming, or?
No, it was all on Netflix, but they released 8 episodes on Netflix, and I just don't think I got the memo that it was only half of it. Because a lot of time, it's common for Netflix seasons to be shorter, like 8 episodes or something. That's how like Stranger Things is and stuff. And I mean, I don't know why I didn't think that the story wasn't completed, because like they didn't complete a lot of the plot points, so I don't know. Maybe I just didn't remember that I was waiting for more. I have no idea. But on the contrary, that's me figuring out that I'll still defend season 4 of Arrested Development, which is maybe the most hated season of that show. I think it's good, but season 5, unfortunately. But in some sort of strangely good news, Community is one of my favorite shows ever, but I've always just absolutely despised season 4. I've mentioned that while I hate season 8 of The Office, season 4 of Community is my least favorite season of a show that I really like.
Wow.
But I finally rewatched it again, and sort of like the Tallahassee episodes in The Office, there are a couple genuinely good episodes in season 4 that I forgot about. And now I have like those episodes. I guess they're later in the season, so There's one that's a parody of Freaky Friday. That's a genuinely good one. Yeah. So I was like surprisingly not hating watching some of that, and I was just like, oh god, to get to season 5, I have to rewatch season 4. I was dreading it, but it wasn't half bad. So I've changed my opinions on a couple of shows.
Oh yeah, I had that happen recently with Arrow season 6, which overall is not a very good season, but there were some episodes that were better than I remembered.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's always fun to be like, oh, I guess this isn't as terrible as I thought it was.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so for me, one thing that I mentioned on the previous episode that I was excited about was the new Looney Tunes cartoons that dropped on HBO Max.
That's right. I'm excited to eventually watch those. I haven't yet.
Oh, you should get around to them. It's so good. I just remember just waiting. That was the thing I was waiting for HBO Max for just like getting so hyped for. Some people were excited for the Snyder Cut. Some people were excited for the Anna Kendrick show. Some people were excited about Elmo hosting his own talk show. But for me, I was just like, I need to see this Looney Tunes show. Oh, and I finished it. Oh, it was so good. It's just...
That might be what I'm most excited for, too. I mean, I do like that all of the Studio Ghibli movies are on there, but as far as new content, that is the most exciting thing for me right now.
Oh, it is so good. They do such a great job with the show. The only disappointment is that, hey, guys, I've been waiting like 2 years for this show. All we have are 10 quarter-hour episodes. Can we please get some more? I know they exist according to Wikipedia.
Yeah.
That's the rough thing about streaming is that they'll just only put up a few at a time. They'll have shorter seasons compared to like 22 a year.
Yeah.
And you don't know when the next one's coming out. But I guess I can always just rewatch those again. And I plan to because, oh, they're so good.
I think I'll have to figure out if I can already get me some HBO Max because
do you already have the HBO channel?
I think so, and I did. Yeah, I heard that if you have that, then you basically have HBO Max as well. So
yeah, can I just say I love how Warner Brothers did that.
Yeah, that's really nice.
I think is great because I would have felt it almost kind of feels. I think it's kind of. I don't like the idea. Like we'll take Disney Plus for an example.
Yeah.
I don't like how for people who put in years supporting Disney Channel and Disney XD and Toon Disney, RIP, live on.
Yeah.
Farewell, Toon Disney. Go off into the night. I kind of think it sucks how if you supported those channels for years, they're switching over to the streaming service and now they're just dumping junk onto those channels.
Yeah.
I kind of wish that Disney Channel had done what Warner Brothers did with HBO Max or kind of done like a little transition where they shut down the Disney Channel and Disney XD and move the subscribers over at Disney Plus. That's what I would have liked to have seen. All right, so I also I think I mentioned, so because we don't have any movies coming out this summer, which, my God, what a summer we live in now. But
weird time.
Yeah, I've been, like, during the weekends going through, like, old movies and stuff. And one recent one I did was I went through all 12 of the X-Men movies.
Whoa.
That's right. And, you know what? I gotta say this. I've always loved the X-Men movies. But I gotta say, it almost feels like the X-Men movies are kind of like the perfect superhero movie marathon. Because when you look at it, you have kind of like period pieces in the X-Men prequels. Like one takes place in the 60s, one's in the 80s. You have the classic superhero stuff in the regular X-Men movies. You have the solo Wolverine movies. You have like a Western in Logan. And then in Deadpool, you have more of a comedy. And then in X-Men Days of Future Past, you have like sci-fi and time travel. So I just watching and just like, you know what? you put them all together. That's a nice variety. It gives really touches everywhere the X-Men franchise. So I was just like, you know what? This is almost a pretty perfect marathon.
Yeah, I see what you mean. So it's like a bunch of different types of movies in the same franchise of superhero movies.
Yeah.
That's cool.
All right, and there was one superhero movie that came out this summer, probably the only one for all we know.
Yeah.
And it was Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, which was the finale of the DC animated movie universe that began in 2014. So we talked a little bit about some of those movies on here. I think the one we talked most about on here was Batman Hush.
Yeah.
So they came out, and I was like, no, I've been fooled multiple times with crappy finales. I'm gonna watch the ending on YouTube before I waste time and money on this thing.
That's one way to do it.
Yeah, and I did the same thing with Batman Arkham Knight.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't gonna buy it, but I needed to know how it ended, because then I eventually bought the novel of it.
Yeah.
And so I'm watching it, and I know that a bunch of the superheroes are dead.
Oh.
A bunch of them. Now, mind you, none of them are the ones that I would have been upset about.
Yeah.
Like, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Nightwing, and The Flash are all fine.
Yeah.
It's just like Aquaman, Green Lantern. I'm like, oh, you know, they're dead, but I'm not going to lose too much sleep over it. But, and then it does it has like a very comic book movie ending where the world, is going to be destroyed within a week, and the Flash goes back in time. It ends with the Flash going back in time and changing a few things so that all the people who died come back to life. Oh. So I was like, I watched it, I'm just like, oh crap, I guess I do need to buy this thing. Dude, I'm telling you, because I've become very pessimistic with superhero finales. The only two I like are the ones I check on beforehand thinking this is going to suck.
Oh, no.
So I'm just like, well, I mean, maybe it would have been a different experience had I been like the whole time just being like, screw this movie, screw it. And then the last 2 minutes, I'm like, oh, I guess Flash did fix everything. Cool.
Yeah.
It's probably a better experience knowing how it all works out.
Yeah, no. Sometimes spoiling isn't half bad.
No. But I was like, what? So I went through all the movies in the series, Batman Hush being my favorite. And I was watching, and I was just like, wow, they did a whole DC cinematic universe in that thing. And they pretty much did what fans were hoping the DCEU would do. Because when you look at it, you had the formation of the Justice League. You had the death of Superman, the return of Superman. We have an older, more experienced Batman who already has like Nightwing and Robin and Batgirl and all that.
Yeah.
And the final movie is where Darkseid defeats the Justice League, takes over Earth, and they have to have one last stand against him, which was pretty much what Zack Snyder's original plan was, which when you listen to the commentary, it does just sound like it was a coincidence that it turned out that way.
Yeah.
But just like, wow, this little animated movie universe, which even though I liked most of the DCU, I prefer this series.
Yeah.
It did everything that we were hoping for, except it's animated.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, people shouldn't sleep on that then, like me.
Like, it just exists. There it is.
Yeah, it's already there. It already exists.
Yes.
So just quit complaining.
Yeah, exactly. All right, and another thing I wanted to bring up is there was a show that, honestly, of all the streaming services, Netflix is the one I watched the least.
Yeah.
But there was something that dropped on there recently that I have watched 3 episodes of.
Oh, really?
And it is the return of Unsolved Mysteries.
Oh, yeah. Still haven't had a chance to watch that, but I'm excited to.
Yes, so I watched it. I think it was last year I went through all of the old classic Robert Stack episodes on Tubi.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, oh, 10 new episodes? All right. And it did take a while to adjust to how, like, the show is different than when it was in the 80s and
Yeah,
90s. There
definitely.
was like a moment where you're just like, okay, this isn't the 80s and 90s. This is made for 2020.
Yeah.
And if I want the 80s and 90s, I can just rewatch those, which I should do
Yeah.
again sometime. Just, not like before bed because they're terrifying.
Yeah, no.
But I was just watching it, and I just like, wow, they even though it's different than the original one, it still does a great job telling these stories. And I've read online about how, because a lot of people have been tuning in, like a lot of people have been calling in and helping like give new info on cases.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for this because I mean, I have for a long time been a lover of true crime content to this day, and I think I often don't give enough credit to the fact that Unsolved Mysteries is what started that. That was the first ever true crime show or piece of media that I ever really consumed.
Oh, so great. I remember you were the one who introduced me to Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah.
It was what was it? I think it was like 2 days after Christmas. You know how I
really?
remember that? You know how I remember that?
How?
Because we were playing a Batman Begins video game and interrogating a guy, and he said that the passcode was his anniversary, and you said, wait, that's today. I was like, oh, that is today. It's that guy's anniversary, the guy we interrogated as Batman.
Oh. Oh. Wow. Quite a memory. I do remember like introducing that show. But
I remember being
yeah.
confused because you said it's on Lifetime. I'm like, what? Lifetime?
Yeah. Yeah, I do remember that. No, it is. Or it was at that time it was in reruns. Wait,
I think
what
they
did it-
still air reruns on Lifetime, but it's the one they re-edited in the late 2000s where they basically just did new narration.
Got it.
Oh, dude, I was so upset when I found out those were the quote-unquote new episodes.
Oh.
I was like, no, guys, that's cheating.
Yeah, that is not worth it. I actually probably have a lot of those that I haven't seen, because when I initially got into it, I liked all the Ghost episodes, and now I probably specifically wouldn't care about the Ghost episodes, so there's probably...
those Ghost episodes are still so good.
They probably are, but I do like true crime stuff, so I need to rewatch the original run, too. I think that's what one of the next things I need to put on my what I'm watching list.
Oh, you know what you should watch from the first episode, the fourth story, because there is a guy on there, and I think I can say it because he's probably dead now, who is very suspicious, and he has like a Winnie the Pooh voice,
Oh,
and it's very uncomfortable watching him. Like, okay, yeah,
oh dear.
I and he's just like, he's okay with his wife disappearing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't
that'll
know,
happen.
man.
Have you ever seen, like, speaking of true crime, have you ever seen, there's this famous case where there's this guy doing an interview, like, someone went missing, and there's this guy with super, like, long, shaggy hair doing it like a news interview, and he's like, oh, I don't know, we just don't know where she is. We've been looking for her. We just and then they're on the news, they're like, did you hear they found the body? And he goes, the body? And he starts like having a full-blown panic attack, and it's so obvious that he did it.
Oh, no, I haven't seen
And it's
this.
it was live on the news, and he's like on the ground, and he's like, I need to sit down. And yeah, he did it. He's a weirdo, but it's just that
I'm
he's
gonna have to
on
look this up afterwards.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. Oh, it's Steven something, but
All right. He's in prison now, probably, so we don't have to get worried about getting sued for defamation.
yeah, no, not at all. Everyone's already talked about this. It's one of the funniest just moments of true crime where it's just
I'm waiting for someone to put that in like a news blooper compilation.
yeah, no, that's the biggest blooper is accidentally revealing obviously revealing that you're a murderer on
And then
TV.
like the chief of police comes in. Oh, we solved the murderer. It wasn't him. And then the reporter's like, yeah, it was. Oh, darn. You know, sometimes you get him and sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been watching. Oh, also, just for fun, you know, during this quarantine, I've been Google imaging old TV schedules and going through those. So I've been watching like Cartoon Network, the schedule from 1996, or stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh yes, trying to even further distance myself from the current time we're living in right now.
Yep. Don't want it to be the 20s anymore.
No. So I guess right now, as we're recording this, there's some press conference that the governor from our state is giving about something. I don't know.
Oh, some kind of press conference.
Yeah, I try not to watch it because I'm afraid.
Yeah.
It'll get depressing after a while.
As we probably should be.
Yes. All right, so there we go for what we've been watching. So did we want to move on to our stories now?
Yeah, sure. Let's get into the news.
All right. So who wants to go first with their first story? No, maybe we'll start with this story first.
Yeah, I was thinking there probably is something we should start with. So let's start with that.
Well, before we get to that one, there's something I wanted to do real quick.
Okay.
So we'll be talking a lot about Batman in this episode because possibly the most important Batman news in a while was revealed recently.
Yeah.
But there is some other Batman news that I think we should shine a spotlight on. So Joel Schumacher, the director of Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, passed away recently at the age of 80. So he was born the same year as Batman.
Oh.
So there you go. That's how you knew he would one day direct Batman.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So yeah, passed away recently at age of 80. So I figured, now I don't know how much of Joel Schumacher's filmography we both know. I only know of 2 movies he did.
I probably only know of those same 2 movies, but I'm not positive. But yeah, I think both of us are probably bigger fans of the Schumacher movie, Batman movies than most. So definitely.
I did see for the first time in a while. I saw a lot of love pouring out for Batman Forever, and I was like, yes, yes,
finally,
yes. It almost feels like people kind of disconnected because it isn't Keaton. I'm just like,
yeah,
why? It's another great performance, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
no, I love Batman Forever.
Oh, so good. So, you know what? Batman Forever has my favorite Batman opening, where he's like against Two-Face in the helicopter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
every Batman opening. I love Keaton on the roof versus the 2 robbers. Dark Knight with Joker robbing the bank is cool, but man, that Batman Forever opening gets you pumped up.
I definitely thought it was one of the most exciting of the 4 back in the day. I'm looking at his list of movies right now just to see if there's anything. I feel like I may have seen, and I didn't know he directed these, but I feel like I may have seen The Phantom of the Opera before, though I don't remember it. But I've seen the number 23 as well, which I didn't realize he directed. So, interesting.
We're reunited with Jim Carrey.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
never knew that connection.
There you go. Oh, he also directed some episodes of House of Cards.
Yeah, saw that too.
So, for me, Joel's movies, I think, really complemented the 2 that Tim started. And I think that, for me at least, I think that moving on to Schumacher after Burton's 2 movies instead of just continuing with Burton, I think actually added to this series because I think it took it in a new direction. I also think it put the focus back on Batman versus Batman Returns was focusing a little bit too much on Penguin and Catwoman.
Yeah.
And I think it made the character evolve more some more. So I figured talk a little bit about the two Batman movies. So for me, Batman Forever is tied with Batman 1989 as the best live-action version of Batman we've ever seen. I think that movie perfectly nailed the character. And I think, like I said earlier, this movie kind of went back to what 1989 Batman was, focusing more on Batman instead of just the villains. And I think that when you look at this movie, Schumacher's two movies, it felt like Batman went through more character growth, because in Batman Forever, we see a Batman who is wondering what his legacy is, and has he just failed Gotham City? Because one of his failures was not saving Harvey Dent, and we're seeing it him be haunted by that. And because he was unable to save Harvey Dent, another person has to suffer the same fate as Bruce Wayne and losing their parents. And I think that we got the perfect origin of Robin in this movie. Now, if they were going to do a little quick scene of him in 1989's Batman, which would have been cool, but I think saving it for a whole movie was better. And I think that Riddler was a great villain that showed more of the detective side of Batman than I think we've seen in any other movie iteration. And the climax of this movie was very big. Actually, both of them for this movie were pretty big. Where Riddler is about to take over Gotham with the box thing, taking their... What was it? It takes their data from their mind or something. Yeah, he's becoming he's becoming almost a god with his knowledge.
Yeah.
And I think that I also think that this movie, I think Joel's movies add heart to the series. Because when I look at some of my favorite scenes from his two movies, one that sticks out is where Alfred goes to see Dick after his parents have died, and he's holding his old helmet with the Robin on it. And he talks about how one day Robin will fly again. And another scene is Bruce talking to Chase, and she's talking about he knows that she's studying Batman, and she talks about what makes a man go through this nightly torture all the time. And then we're talking about Batman Forever right now, but another one of my favorite scenes is from Batman and Robin, where Bruce is talking to Alfred, because in the movie Alfred is dying, and we see Bruce talk to Alfred about how he can give him the best doctors in the world and stuff, and has he ever regretted his life living at Wayne Manor. And then Alfred talks about how he loved looking after heroes, and Bruce says, not all heroes wear masks. Actually, that scene is one of Clooney's best as Batman, because you see, even he lowers his voice a little bit, he's playing Batman, even though he's not in the suit.
Yeah.
So there's that. But going back to, I think Val Kilmer was such a great Batman. My favorite is Michael Keaton in live action, but there's a strong argument that Val Kilmer was the best. And I think of all of them, he was the best Bruce Wayne. And he also did the best job of playing both Bruce Wayne and Batman.
Yeah.
When you look at some of them, Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck did a better job playing Batman. George Clooney and Christian Bale did a better job playing Bruce Wayne, versus Kilmer was able to do the best of both.
Yeah.
And Tommy Lee Jones, I think, is a very underrated Two-Face, because you can see in his performance where sometimes you'll see the Harvey Dent side and you'll see the Two-Face side.
Mm-hmm.
And he makes sure, and he differentiates them. Yeah. Chris O'Donnell was a great Robin in those movies. He did a great job of playing both the drama and the humor when you needed it. And moving on to Batman and Robin, this movie, I think one of the great things about it is we saw a villain who was in a similar position to Bruce Wayne, where he lost his family, but he goes down a different path. Batman lost his family. He's trying to save people. Mr. Freeze well, is on the verge of losing his family, and he's hurting people so he can keep it. So we saw that. I think that's why it was so important that in the rest of the movies, the villain usually dies, but at the end of Batman and Robin, Batman is trying to get to Freeze's humanity, talking about how he can still be the guy his wife loved.
Mm-hmm.
And we see a Batman who's more confident because we've already seen 3 movies with him, so it feels like a natural evolution for the character.
Yeah.
Looking at it that way, Clooney's performance makes more sense. I do wish he did a little bit of a voice change, but at the same time, Keaton and Kilmer pretty much did it perfectly, so it's a little hard to compare.
Yeah.
And I think we saw a Batman who we'd seen for 3 movies have been solo, having to adjust to working with a partner. And, the Poison Ivy stuff, it does make sense when you look at it that Robin thinks that Bruce is just, being a jerk, but Batman has been through this before with Catwoman. So we see Batman is he's gotten smarter than he was throughout the series, and we've seen how his experiences have led him to grow as a character. And I think that even though it wasn't planned to be the finale, this feels like a perfect finale to that Batman series, because it ends with you have Batman, Robin, and Batgirl. The closest thing they have to a parent is dying, and they've all lost their parents, and it's all been like the central force behind their drive to help people. And it ends with them saving their parent. And in a way, when you look at it, having Batman, Robin, and Batgirl run out into the night knowing the adventures continue, it ends with us seeing that through his war on crime, Batman got a family again. And I think that Joel's 2 movies complemented what Burton started so much, and I feel like having all 4 of them together makes it the perfect live-action iteration of Batman. So
yeah,
I went a long time talking
definitely
about that movie. So those movies.
Yeah, I don't think it would feel complete without like if it was just the first 2, it would not feel complete. It definitely took what was started and brought it somewhere new and interesting.
Yeah, and that's why I whenever I watch the first 2 Nolan movies, I put the Snyder ones in, because then it feels more complete. Versus you watch Batman Returns, you're like, it's nice, but it's just getting started.
Yeah.
We still have so much to cover.
Yeah.
So, any memories or anything you wanted to share about the Joel Schumacher era Batman movies?
Well, just to say more about Batman Forever, just kind of looking back, I feel like, for whatever reason, just kind of naturally to me, I think one of the reasons why I loved it so much is for some reason that movie just, as a kid, stuck to me as, it felt the most like I was getting a quintessential Batman experience, maybe because, it had Robin in it, and a couple of villains
It's also more
recognized.
It's also more classic compared to 1989, because in Batman Forever, he's already working with Gordon. He's already established himself.
Yeah, that's true. I just kind of felt like, I think that's why I probably rewatched it more than any other movie. Probably any other movie period at that time period, but any other Batman movie at that time period. I think it just felt like if I wanted to watch a Batman movie, for some reason that one just felt like the most classic one to me.
Yeah. Oh, one of my earliest memories is being 4 and eating McDonald's and watching Batman Forever that we rented from Blockbuster, and specifically the scene where we first see Robin for the first time.
Yeah.
And you know what my favorite scenes is ever from a Batman movie? It's where the Riddler's taking over the bat signal, and Gordon's like, shut it down, he's not coming, and goes, wait a minute, and then you hear the music start to crescendo, and then the Batwing just flies through the bat signal, and then Gordon's cheering, and you see Batman give a thumbs up, and you're like, yeah, Batman's back.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, I was lucky enough last year to see Batman Forever on the big screen.
I would have liked that.
Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Did
And
that in 1989.
And I appreciate hearing some positive notes about Batman and Robin too, because it gets a lot of flack, and I like to hear some positivity about it.
Yeah, I kind of feel, you know what? I think people should give it a rewatch.
Yeah.
Because, some people complain about being like, oh, it gets too much in the comedy. And I'll say this, not as much as some of the recent MCU movies.
That's true. No, I think I remember being with some people having a discussion about Batman and Robin, because actually, it so happens that my girlfriend is a big defender of that movie. I haven't seen it in a long time, so I just stay out of it because I don't remember if it's bad or not. But I remember being like people making fun of that movie and just being like, I'm not gonna say anything bad about it. It has cheesy jokes. I don't care.
You know what's more cheesy? Jokes on The Dark Knight Rises they thought were funny.
Oh yeah, that's
but
true.
Weren't. I also love how Clooney's suit was more blue compared to the other ones were more black.
Yeah, that's right.
So there we go. A little tribute to Joel Schumacher.
Last thing, though, I don't know if he had anything to do with this, but I just found out that there was some kind of Batman Forever beat-em-up video game that came out around that time for Super Nintendo. It looks really weird. I'm watching gameplay footage of it.
Have you ever seen the clips of the Batman and Robin video game for the first PlayStation?
Oh, Batman and Robin PlayStation? I haven't seen this either.
Let's see. Yeah, it looks weird.
Yeah,
you can tell it's like late 90s video games, which are very difficult.
Yeah. I do think that this era of video games is probably when video games looked the worst.
Yes.
Honestly.
Oh, they did a good job designing Batman.
That looks pretty. I'm kind of impressed.
It looks a lot like, they got a lot of details on the suit. Nice.
Yeah. Well, so there's our little dedication for some great films in the history of Batman. Is it time to get into some other news?
Yes. I don't know if you wanted to bring something up or if we wanted to go to my next thing or however we wanted to do it.
I can bring up my bit of news. I don't have a lot.
All right.
And this isn't going to be news that is exciting to as many people, but it does have to do with a pretty well-loved comic book series being adapted. But we talk a lot about, of course, comic adaptions of comic books, but this is into TV and movies. But this is interesting. The Sandman comic series from Vertigo is getting adapted into like an audio drama, like a scripted audio drama, almost like an audio book or like a radio drama sort of thing, which I think is going to be interesting. It's kind of interesting, especially to take a visual medium like a comic book and to turn it into an audio drama. It makes sense with... I've heard other like similar audio dramas. I think they're
Marvel did one with Wolverine.
Oh, did they? Because I listened to there's a Terry Pratchett's Discworld audio drama of a few books, and then there's Good Omens has an audio drama kind of thing, and it kind of got me thinking about it's kind of an interesting way to I mean, in the age of COVID, scripted audio entertainment could be like a new pathway that could be tapped into a little.
Yeah, because you don't have to have the actors interact.
Yeah, you can record them remotely. And I think we talked about before, like, how there was that show that did the animated episode. Is it
Oh,
Blacklist?
God, it's the one with James Spader.
Yeah.
The Blacklist, is that it?
Yeah, I think that's what it's called. But so that's another option because you don't have to be in the same room for that either. But it's kind of interesting. Yeah, I like a lot of just audio only content to listen to. So I'm excited for the Sandman audio drama, having just finally finished the entire series of those comics last year or something. So let's see. Oh, I was gonna check the release date. I did not realize it was coming out this soon. First ever adaptation. Oh yeah, and this is the first ever adaptation of Sandman outside of a comic. So a lot of people.
Wasn't there supposed to be a movie with Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
Yeah, I think I do remember. I didn't hear about Joseph Gordon-Levitt. That's interesting if that's true. But I do remember hearing that
this is like going back to 2014.
Production. Oh yeah, I think it's been in like a sort of movie development hell for a long time. It's been a highly requested thing, but apparently it's coming. This audio drama is coming out on July 15th. That's really soon.
Oh yes,
it's in a few days. So I thought I'd have to wait longer, but yeah, interesting. And it's interesting. Like probably I would have to guess that the production time is probably a bit shorter on stuff like this, and then you don't have to be in the same room. So it'd be interesting to see more. It would be interesting to see more things adapted into these audio formats as opposed to TV or movies.
Yeah, I did see. This is from a year ago, but it said that Netflix was going to do a TV show of Sandman.
Oh yeah, yeah.
With Neil Gaiman and David Goyer from Batman Begins and Man of Steel.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think this audio drama has like a sort of a star cast as well. I think Neil Gaiman is doing the narrating. I remember. And there are I can't remember. There were some other pretty famous individuals too. Oh, I searched Sandman audio drama, and apparently there is some kind of Doctor Who audio drama called The Sandman. Not what I'm talking about.
No.
But yeah, that's it did get me thinking about the potential for a rabbit hole question here, which was
I love rabbit hole questions.
Which was to me, I'm if you don't have an answer, I wouldn't blame you because I don't know what I'd say.
I will make up one if I can't.
What would make a good? What would work? What just makes sense if it were to be adapted in audio form instead of like a TV or movie? Like, is there a comic series or a book or even maybe a TV show or movie that, if it was in some kind of like dramatic radio drama style, would work well?
Let's see.
Well,
they did Wolverine.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. You mentioned Wolverine, which I didn't know about.
I haven't listened to it yet, but I want to.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got two.
Oh.
One that's big and one that is lesser known character.
Okay.
I think a Great Depression era Batman audio drama could work, where you hear his narration and you could almost do stuff. If we're listening inside his head, we can almost go into we can almost have it be more accurate because he doesn't have to bounce dialogue off of other characters if we're just hearing him monologue inside his head.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe having it in an audio drama could maybe focus more on the detective side.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It would be really cool to make it like a noir, like detective kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Then my other one is this character called The Question, who is like a conspiracy type character. He doesn't have a face. Let's see. Yeah. You could maybe do kind of similar to Batman, like a mystery conspiracy type of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. The Question.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I think The Question could work. The Question is the next character I want to have appear on the CW. Maybe not for his own show, but I would love for him to pop up on The Flash or Superman.
Yeah, that'd be cool to see. I was thinking a similar line where like because it probably has a lower budget to create an audio experience than a visual one. I feel like there's an opportunity for lesser known characters or more story focused characters. So that is a good, because I was thinking like it might be an opportunity for like, I mean, I've been reading a lot of like Image comics for some time, and it's like those are like not as famous characters or franchises, so they don't get made into shows or movies as often, and a lot of them are sort of story driven. So I mean, like I really enjoyed like Paper Girls, like which is like a time travel story, and there's this new like sort of D&D adjacent one called Die. So stuff like that I think would be cool, given that it is like I mean, I don't want to say easier because I have worked in the realm of audio, and it's hard work to edit these. I edit these things. So it's not easier, but like, you know, you don't have to do exploding cars and stuff.
Yeah, I almost think I don't know how much video you've done, but I almost think editing audio is harder than doing video.
Oh,
because you have to like listen to everything and like time that like. Yeah, there's not like and you have to make sure you're focusing on it, and you can't just like drift or anything.
I mean, I'll definitely say, I mean, when it comes to like music too, like you have to be very aware of everything going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just because there's not a visual element doesn't mean it's not challenging or will take a lot of work. But you know, in the age of COVID, it might be interesting to see more audio only content or animated. But
yes.
All right, so
there we go. The Sandman.
Yes, I'm now more excited knowing that I only have to wait 6 days from when we're recording this.
I know, you're just like, what, is it going to be 3 months or something? Oh my God, 6 days?
I think I thought it was going to be just like sometime in 2020 or something. Like it was just announced.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so that's that on that, and that's my rare rabbit hole question from me. So if we want to get into your next topic.
All right, guys, so there was some news recently that dropped that none of us were expecting. I think you may be able to tell what that news is. It is that Michael Keaton is in early talks, mind you, to return as Batman in the upcoming Flash movie. So, before we get into everything, I just want to say, let's maybe talk about our thoughts on Michael Keaton as Batman, because for me, my Batman, my live-action Batman, this guy right here.
Oh, the prop.
Oh, there it is. That's my
beauty.
Batman right there.
A beauty.
This is I got this for Christmas. Is the comic I was most excited for, a reprint of the 1989 film adaptation. Right there. That's my live action Batman right there.
That is so awesome. That is an amazing cover.
Oh yes. got on the back. I think we got him on the back right there too.
Oh, awesome.
Yes. So Michael Keaton, and you know the Keaton and Clooney too, because they're the same character. But Keaton, that is my live action Batman. Some
Yeah.
people will say Christian Bale, and I laugh in their face. Oh, yeah, that's right. But no, Michael Keaton is my Batman. He is, I think, the best live action Batman we've ever had. So,
Yeah.
your thoughts on Michael Keaton as Batman before we get into what this news could mean?
I would tend to agree, and this will not the first time we've sung praise of Michael Keaton on this show.
Yes.
And as we mentioned earlier in the show, I think my favorite live action or my favorite of the four run from 1989 into the 90s are Batman Forever, as we mentioned, and 1989. Those are my two favorites, and a couple of my favorite live action Batmans there, Val Kilmer and Michael Keaton. But
yes,
I did always wish that Michael Keaton was in more of them, and it might just be my favorite as well.
Yeah, this is the closest thing we've had to Michael Keaton returning as Batman. And, you know, of all of them, you know, it would make sense for Michael Keaton because he was the first one of this series and he appeared in it the most. So this news of Michael Keaton returning as Batman really came out of nowhere, because sometimes you'll hear rumors and you'll be like, okay, but this came out of nowhere. I just remember being like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I remember thinking, this is fake. And then I saw the Hollywood Reporters reporting it, and so was Variety. I was just like, oh, wait a minute. Is it possible? So
I couldn't believe it when I saw it.
So I've been having conflicting feelings about this. Before, like I just said, Michael Keaton, that's my Batman right here.
Yeah.
It's this guy right here. This is my live-action Batman. I've said his praises. There's not enough time to sing his many praises. So I've been having conflicting feelings about what this could be and what this could mean. And I've been going back and forth about it. And there's two different ways to look at it. One in which this could be great. One way this could be terrible. So I don't know who we wanted to go first about your thoughts about Michael Keaton returning as Batman.
Well, I mean, short, quick thoughts that come to mind is after you said reasons why this could be great and reasons this could be terrible. A little bit the same thing, which is that such a classic and great iteration of live-action Batman, and we've had so little of it. So little of Michael Keaton as Batman. So fantastic.
Well, more
to
compared to
see.
some of the other movie actors. I mean, Affleck just barely beat him. Just barely with the cameo in Suicide Squad.
That's true.
Although he will beat him in the Snyder Cut.
Oh yeah, there you go. But yeah, so I mean, it's great to see more, but then there's a situation where like pretty much like 100% of Michael Keaton's run as Batman is so good, and the chance that, you know, that could be tarnished in some way if it ends up not being good or something, that would be the only downside that comes to mind. But I mean, who cares? It doesn't ruin Batman 1989 or anything, so I think it's just a really good thing for fans.
Yeah, so I've been debating, should I talk about first the prospect of what could be amazing, or should I talk about what makes me concerned? I guess I'll do the concerned one first.
Yeah.
I feel a little bit like we're having deja vu.
Mm-hmm.
Because we had, about a year ago, we did a story about how there was going to be this big crossover involving The Flash. And it was Crisis on Infinite Earths, and the thing that I was most excited for was we were going to have a 90s Batman actor come back,
Yeah.
even though he's basically been doing it the whole time. He hasn't been gone since the 90s, but
Yeah.
we were going to have one of my childhood Batmans. And it was Kevin Conroy coming back in Crisis on Infinite Earths. And it was terrible. And it made me think about this, and here's why I think this could be bad. I'm almost leaning towards I don't want this to happen.
Yeah.
Because, now follow me here, okay? We're going to get a little comic booky, continuity-wise. All right, but follow me. The Flash movie is set in the DC Extended Universe. The DCEU has a Batman in Ben Affleck. Now, he's not there anymore, but that version is their Batman. Now, we don't know if Robert Pattinson is the same character. He could be, could not. He might be or might not be, but for argument's sake, Ben Affleck is the DCEU Batman.
Yeah.
So, and this Flash movie set in the DCEU, meaning having Keaton in this Flash movie would mean he's not the quote-unquote real Batman. He's an alternate version of Ben Affleck's Batman.
Gotcha.
So, like we saw on Crisis on Infinite Earths, where we had multiple Supermen, Tyler Hoechlin's Superman was the real Superman.
Yeah.
Which is why, he was the classic. Of all of them, he was the most classic Superman versus Tom Welling's Superman was someone who gave up his powers and retired.
Yeah.
Brandon Routh's Superman was someone who lost his Lois Lane and his Jimmy Olsen because they were all murdered. Why? Because they weren't playing Superman like they had been when they were playing when their franchise was going on. They were playing an alternate version of Tyler Hoechlin's. Meaning, if Michael Keaton's in this movie, he's not playing Batman, the real Batman, like he did in 1989 or 1992. He's playing an alternate version of Ben Affleck's Batman. And so, as we saw on Crisis many times in that horrible crossover, I'm not really excited to see where they could do whatever they want with him because he's not Batman. Ben Affleck is Batman. I'm not excited to see them either kill off his Batman, have his Batman retire, which is out of character. Batman would never do that. Have his Batman turn evil. Have his Batman wiped from existence, So those are my concerns about it. Now, there are some rumors going around about what this could mean, and we'll probably talk about that next, but I don't know. So, I'll just say this. If it's for one movie, if it's just for the Flash movie, I'm leaning towards I don't want it to happen. Mm-hmm. But if it's kind of like these other rumors are suggesting, which are kind of being reported to the Hollywood Reporter, so you should take them with a little grain of salt, but still, if it's coming from the Hollywood Reporter, there's more of a possibility than like we got this covered or something like that.
Right.
If it's for multiple movies and this leads to like a Dark Knight Returns or Batman Beyond, then sure. If it's just a one-off movie based on Flashpoint, I kind of lean towards I don't want this to happen. Because I kind of feel like, again, we just went through this last year.
Yeah.
And if the CW universe with Kevin Conroy wasn't able to do a good job, I don't think anyone could do a good job with something like this.
That's probably true.
So, and again, DCEU has been hit and miss with a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll just say this. We won't know what could be unless they go for it. It's kind of like, I hated Tom Welling's appearance in Crisis on Infinite Earths. Although they edited it in an episode of Supergirl to 2 seconds, and that was pretty good because they removed the crap. But we wouldn't know if it was bad unless they go for it, and
Yeah.
I'm glad that there was at least an attempt
Yeah.
to try something, even if it didn't work out. And look, I rewatched Smallville last night. I don't watch it thinking, oh my God, they ruined it on Crisis. I think, oh, this is Smallville. Smallville is not connected to Crisis. In Crisis, he's playing an alternate version of Tyler Hoechlin's Superman.
Yeah.
So, at the same time, if we're going to go for something like this, I can't think of a better Batman actor that should be than Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
If you're going to go for it, get Michael Keaton for it. That's the one people have been wanting to see come back. Me, I've been wanting to see him in Dark Knight Returns or Batman Beyond, or both. Sequel. That's 2 movies right there. 3 if you divide up the pilot and Return of the Joker. Whole trilogy. So, now we'll talk about the rumors later, but what do you think about this? Because Michael Keaton isn't playing the real Batman unless Flash. This is getting convoluted. Unless the Flash movie has it to where Affleck's Batman is erased and is replaced with Keaton. But this is getting really in there. But what do you think about this, especially coming off of what happened with Crisis on Infinite Earths on the CW?
Yeah, I mean,
what do you think about it?
It's not a good track record because of that, and also it does feel kind of like less exciting because you're not getting the same character then. It's just like, oh, here's Batman, and he looks like that Batman from that movie I like. But
well, to be fair, they'll try to say that he is, but we know he's not.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But as you said, like, there's not really anything to lose because it's not going to affect Batman 1989.
You'll, go to it. You'll have to maybe avoid watching the movie for a few days, and then you'll get over it.
Yeah. But it's hard to know until it comes out because, like, if it ends up being good in some way, then you're right that, like, good thing they went for it. Good thing they got Michael Keaton for it. So the fact that this is happening, it's a great
it's in
choice.
Talks. Oh, it's early talks.
The fact that if this happens, if the talks are true, and if this happens, that this is the direction they might be going in, that's a good choice, I think.
By the way,
everyone wants to see that. But
when we did our coronavirus special, Flash was supposed to start filming when the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
Why are they just talking Michael Keaton now? Could they have scrapped everything? Well, we'll get into this later, but what does this mean? Could the Ezra Miller situation have made them scrap everything?
That's possible. They could be like, okay, a drawing board on this one. That's interesting.
So, but now I'll just say this. Now, DC's been trying to rebuild since Batman vs. Superman did not turn out the way a lot of people were hoping it would. Having Michael Keaton as Batman, this is the most important movie you'll make since Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah, that's true.
You tank this, it's done.
Yeah, that's
there's
true.
no. I'm saying Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman is over. Aquaman's done. It's just you are going to be so screwed if you. It's like they dug themselves into a hole and they're trying to get back. They're crawling. They're gonna fall, and I don't think this is something they'd recover from. I think if they screw this up, you'll just have Wonder Woman and Batman for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know what to think because I was so excited for this Kevin Conroy appearance on Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember watching it, being so excited, being like, oh, it's my Batman! And then the moment it started to die was when Bruce hands Batwoman a newspaper and it says Batman Reign of Terror over, and he goes, I've lost track of how many people I've killed. You start with a code, and then there's another, and another, and another. and then we have Supergirl looking at a trophy case. And then she sees these bloody glasses, and then Luke, who's kind of replaced Alfred, Lucius Fox's son has replaced Alfred, because I'm assuming Alfred's dead now. It's just like, yeah, that belonged to Superman before Batman killed him. And I'm just like, oh, no.
God.
And then it ends with him fighting Batwoman and Supergirl. And then he gets kicked into the computer and electrocutes himself to death.
Yeah.
I still look back thinking, how did anyone think this was a good idea? I have a hard time thinking there was a writer's room thinking, you know what fans are going to love? Evil Batman.
Yeah. I hadn't heard a lot of those details. I can see why you hated it.
Yes. So, but at the same, I mean, I'm still kind of the mindset of if the CW couldn't do it, why should I believe the DCEU could?
Yeah.
But if we're gonna try, I mean, if we're gonna live in a world, I think we can say if we're gonna live in a world, I'd rather they try it than be afraid.
Yeah. I feel like that's my attitude is sort of like just do it.
If it sucks, we'll have had 2 Batman movies ahead of it with Ben Affleck and Robert Pattinson.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? If it does suck, we already have an animated Flash movie with the storyline featuring the man, the myth, the legend, Kevin Conroy.
Oh, yeah.
Although, may I say this? I'm on my knees to Warner Brothers begging because it makes sense. But please, as a backup plan, because DC has like 3 anime movies a year come out.
Mm-hmm.
Please, around the time of this Flash movie, could you make sure one of these anime movies have Kevin Conroy just as like a backup so we can have like, okay, this sucks. Here's my childhood Batman again.
Yeah.
So that's just my request. Please, get Kevin Conroy in another thing just around the same time.
Yeah.
All right,
something good.
Yeah, a little bit of a backup.
Yeah.
All right, so I figured we could look at some of the rumors that are going around.
All right,
So,
the rumor mill.
Now, according to the Hollywood Reporter, the plan could be for Keaton to return in many other DC films and would basically be kind of the Nick Fury of the DCEU. Now, if this were to happen, I would be much more excited because it means he is going to be Batman, the real Batman.
The real Batman.
Because if he moves over to the DCEU, then he is the real Batman. He's not just an alternate version. So, what would you think about if they did have Michael Keaton move over? Now, they'll have the Batman solo movies will be with Robert Pattinson. But what would you think about Michael Keaton moving over to the DCEU full time, becoming their Batman, kind of a Nick Fury type role? Oh, by the way, it says that in the Flash movie he would be wearing the suit.
Okay.
Just so we know.
I mean, that sounds like a cooler idea to me. I mean, to have him as sort of a I think it makes more sense because I don't even know.
I mean, he is like the right age for the Dark Knight Returns Bruce Wayne. Like, if you Google image Bruce Wayne, the Dark Knight Returns, he looks just like him.
Oh, does he? Ah, yeah.
Yeah, tell me, he looks just like him.
Yeah, that's really good.
I mean, those character designers did really. They knew. Frank knew even before Keaton was cast. That's what he'll look like.
that is pretty perfect.
So yeah. So if they do that, I'd be excited. But what do you think would if they do that? Could you see maybe like we'll have like Ben at the beginning of the Flash movie, we'll see like Ben Affleck on a TV screen, and then when Flash wakes up, we'll see Michael Keaton on that TV screen to show he replaced him.
That's I want that. No, I think that would be really, and there would be sort of to me, it almost makes me feel like I almost feel this thing in the background, and like this wouldn't be actually in the context of it, but I feel like as a viewer, I would feel like he's a veteran Batman, so he knows how to help out superheroes. Like,
I mean, if they did do this, we would have already had. I mean, they say they're going to ignore the other two movies. My guess is it will be like Superman Returns, where they just don't reference it, but we will have had some other movies with him that would be in continuity then.
yeah.
Like, kind of like how we had, like, Man of Steel, Wonder Woman. Oh, it really starts with Batman 1989 now.
Yeah.
So, also, it talks about how he could be a mentor in the upcoming Batgirl movie. And I'll just say this. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Because I personally feel Batman should know Batgirl in his prime. It shouldn't be like he's old, he's 60, and now Batgirl finally pops up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, unless we really want to get convoluted, where
And we often do.
she was Affleck's Batgirl and Affleck died, and now he has to take his place. I don't know, but I'm not sure if I like the idea of. I'd rather Batgirl be with Pattinson than I would be with Keaton, because I think having basically look at the '60s show, look at Batman and Robin or the animated series. I think having Batgirl with Batman in his prime would make more sense than having him with a older Batman towards the end of his career.
Yeah, I think so.
But apparently that's what the Hollywood Reporter says is possibly rumored.
That is an interesting rumor mill.
Yeah, I mean, if they do a Batman Beyond type thing, I think that'd be cool, but I'd rather have Batman Beyond and Batgirl would be connected to Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, no, that's how I feel like if they're starting an entire new, a new Batman like franchise, then it would make sense for things to connect or spread out from that a little more.
All right, now we're talking about Batman, but I do think this is something we should probably bring up. Now, the article says that Keaton is expected to star in The Flash alongside Ezra Miller.
Mm-hmm.
Does this mean Warner Brothers is going to keep Ezra Miller after that video? Or do you think they're waiting? Could this be kind of like the Affleck situation where they said Matt Reeves will direct Ben Affleck in a Batman movie, and then maybe they'll wait until the DC fandom event, which I guess will replace our Comic-Con special,
Yeah.
to announce the new Flash actor? Do you think he'll be the Flash?
That seems crazy to me. I never would have thought. Like, why?
I'll just say this.
I really feel like they are gonna get a new actor, even though they said that. I don't know.
I'll just say this. I will be very, very disappointed in Warner Brothers. And I love Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
As you can see, most of my Christmas and birthday gifts are their products.
Yeah.
Like that great comic book. But
Mhm.
I'll be very disappointed in Warner Brothers if they fired Hartley Sawyer from the Flash TV show because of some tweets, but they kept Ezra Miller, who attacked a woman on video.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like, guys, come on.
people get fired for much less, and this is someone attacking someone.
Yeah, so
yeah.
I'm hoping most people don't like Ezra Miller as the Flash. Like, I did in Justice League, but I don't think he can carry one by himself.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that this is just they're waiting to announce who the new actor will be. May I throw a little curveball out here? When is this movie supposed to come out? It's supposed to come out 2022, I think. 2022 would be, when would the Flash TV show? Well, season 7 would be 21/8. Arrow ended after 8 seasons. This would be after Flash season 8.
Mm-hmm.
Could this, in a weird way, be a finale to Grant Gustin's Flash?
Ooh, so like that he would take place of Ezra Miller.
Yeah.
For the one, that would be cool. And a pretty easy way to guarantee a good Flash. I don't know if they do it because I don't know if they.
I think it'd be cool, but I don't think they would do it.
No, they don't seem to like to intertwine the two.
Except for
worlds.
Crisis, when Grant met Ezra.
Oh, that happened? Oh,
Oh, it did. Did it add anything to the plot? No. But like most of Crisis, it was just a waste of time.
yeah.
Well, you know what? I rewatched Crisis recently because I want to like it, but I know I can't. But I will say this. Like, the overall crossover is bad.
Mm-hmm.
But the one episode that lived up to Crisis' potential was the part 1 episode by the Supergirl crew.
Oh.
That was the one episode where I was just like, this is a great episode. And you know why? There's none of those stupid cameos. They're there at the beginning to establish that the bad guy is coming. And then it's just the rest. It's just the regular CW heroes.
Yeah. A bunch of cool cameos can't carry a story, so.
Exactly. And there was no story in Crisis. It was just pointless fan service.
Yeah.
Which is why I wouldn't want this movie to become.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so where was it? Where was my list of things to ask about? Okay. Now, this is a rumor that isn't. I didn't want to say this for last, but this is a rumor that for sure isn't going to happen, okay? It's for sure not. God, I hope not. I promise you it's not real.
Okay.
And I try to make sure I tell myself that because I would die inside if it turned out to be true. But there's a rumor going around that Warner Brothers has a backup plan if Keaton were to say no.
Yeah.
And that backup plan is to ask Christian Bale to come back. To which, before I let you say what you say, that is like pouring an salt on an already very open wound, knowing that we lost both Affleck, we lost the chance at Keaton, and we would have to come back to, what's one of those lines? You'll be in a bad cell forever. I'm like, no, it's not going to happen. But if I were in a movie theater sitting there, the moment that we hear that voice, you'd be like, oh, God. No, what could have been?
Wow. That does sound like a worst nightmare for you, to have essentially a feeling like a sequel to The Dark Knight Rises.
Oh, no. That's pain. I remember when there was rumors about Christian Bale coming back for Justice League before they announced Batman vs. Superman. I was like, no, I want nothing from that movie.
Yeah.
No.
The thing, like, that's obviously a very slim rumor, but honestly, if there was a situation where this was in the process and they asked Michael Keaton, and then he like dropped out. In that situation, I wouldn't think it would. I would like. He's one of the most famous Batman actors. I don't think it would be impossible that would happen. But it would be bad for you. I agree.
What would you think about the news of Christian Bale coming back? Because I'm just saying, I like Batman Begins and Dark Knight. I'm not. There's issues I have with them. As more time has gone on, but the thing that has aged the worst is that horrible Batman voice.
Yeah.
So, what would you think about about if they announced Bale coming back? I'll just say I'll recreate the Michael Scott no scene. No, God, no, no, no!
God, please no.
No, God, please no.
And then I would have to say to the casting director, "Why are you the way that you are?"
Yes. Every time I try it, you
much
think yes
about the things that you choose
to be.
It seems like I don't think you can take a role that you're intending for Michael Keaton and then just give it to Christian Bale.
And they're written as such different Batmen.
Yeah, exactly. It's very different. If they were planning it from the beginning to be like a Christian Bale style Batman, and then they were like, let's dial back the voice. You can be Batman again. Then I think it could be good. But I don't think that you can do something planned for Michael Keaton and give it to Christian Bale.
Like fortunately he can't physically do it anymore. But if you couldn't get Keaton, really the only one you could really consider replacing him with would be Val Kilmer.
Mm.
So, yeah. Which, if things weren't the way they are right now, it would have been great to have seen Val come back, but
yeah,
unfortunately, it can't happen.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now I just need to ask this. We talked about it. Now, I probably said it before on here. I remember being in 2012, wondering what's going to happen with the Batman franchise. How can it come from this rut it's in 2012? And thinking, what would be great? Michael Keaton coming back. And there were two things that I would have loved to have seen him in. The Dark Knight Returns and Batman Beyond. So, what do you think? I guess we'll go chronological. What do you think the chances are of The Dark Knight Returns? A flat-out adaptation. Please just follow the source material word for word. I'm at that point now. Just follow it word for word. A full adaptation of The Dark Knight Returns comic book where an older Bruce Wayne comes out of retirement. Two-Face has been healed, which would be, if it's Keaton, it'd be Billy D. Williams. Two-Face, his scarred face has been healed, but he goes back to being the way he was. Batman has to fight this. Now that the gangsters have left Gotham, a new gang called the Mutants has taken over. And then when having Batman back brings the Joker out of his catatonic state he's been in for 10 years since Batman disappeared. And then the government says to Superman, you have to take out Batman. And then we have the big Batman versus Superman fight. Except this time it won't end with Martha. But still, what do you think are the chances of Dark Knight Returns?
Well,
Now, we're talking about, this movie sounds like they're kind of leading to a DC multiverse.
Yeah.
What do you think? We'll talk about Batman Beyond later, but what are the chances of Dark Knight Returns? I don't know if you've read Dark Knight Returns or Batman Year One.
I haven't. I mentioned I've read part of Year One, but I haven't read Dark Knight Returns. But yeah, then that copy no longer is at my library, but I should be able to find it in some way on a digital platform. But yeah, I haven't read Dark Knight Returns, but that recap makes me want to see a movie of it. I think it would make it's a really good contender for an adaptation. And it makes more sense now why you would consider someone like Michael Keaton, I hadn't known about all the details of the plot of like the retired Batman coming out of retirement. That is, and it's a different Batman than we've seen in a while. So, or I guess ever in live action, right? But
and they kind of did it a little bit in Rises, a little bit in Batman vs Superman, but we haven't had a full adaptation.
Yeah.
It would also feel full circle because Dark Knight Returns was kind of the era. I mean, it had been building up for a while, but Dark Knight Returns was really what kicked off the dark Batman era instead of moving away from the Adam West era. And having, like, the Batman movie was inspired by that comic, so having, in a way, I guess, a finale be Dark Knight Returns would kind of make it feel full circle.
Yeah, and like to sort of half do that story in a couple, or not even half really, to finally get just like, okay, we're gonna do this for real. And I also like I always found it a little weird how, like, I mean, usually with like just a novel that's adapted, they kind of try to just do the novel, but with comic books, it's always this weird mishmash of like different comic stories thrown into the same movie, which isn't always bad, but I'd like to see more just proper adaptions.
I
of
always
a
hate it
storyline.
whenever they change the ending from the comic. Like,
Yeah.
Dark Knight Rises was supposed to be based on Dark Knight Returns. Like, Batman fakes his death. Except in the comic, he becomes Batman full time and lives in the shadow and trains the mutant army to be an army of Batmen instead of running away at Paris like a little jerk. And Logan, Old Man Logan, he lives at the end. And then in the Infinity Gauntlet, it goes back to before the snap. It's not 5 years later. Half the world aged 5 years. Half it was just a second.
Yeah.
So there's that. So the other one that people have been thinking of is Batman Beyond. And for me, I've always, even though I know they're not connected, but in my heart, Batman the Animated Series and the Burton Schumacher movies are connected in my heart.
Yeah.
Right? They came out of the same era. I've always felt like Batman Beyond is where Keaton's Batman would eventually go. And I think it'd be cool to see maybe a movie of the pilot episode, the origin story, one of the Joker. Maybe you just do a one-off and you have it end there. And it ends with, again, we see Bruce as a lonely old man, and by mentoring this kid, he finds a new purpose in life by working in the Batcave and helping him out. And he gets a family again because he reconnects with Barbara Gordon and Tim Drake. So what would you think about Batman Beyond if they did that for Keaton?
I think that somewhere in the back of my head might have been what I was kind of imagining as like a perfect way to do it. Am I right? It's like there's a new Batman, and then Bruce Wayne is sort of in the background more as a mentor or something. Is that?
Yeah, he's like helping him out on the Bat
yeah.
computer.
I think when I heard of like the idea of Michael Keaton coming back, that's kind of what I imagined, because I think I was a little bit more aware of that storyline than like the Batman Returns one. So I was just like, how is he going to come back? Is he going to be like in a mentor sort of position? It would be really cool, but it would be cool to have a reason to tie those together even stronger. To be able to say like, see, they're connected.
Look at that. What are the chances that you think that we could get, if this Keaton thing happens, we could see possibly the return of Jack Nicholson or Danny DeVito or Michelle Pfeiffer? I think I'd love to see all of them. I think maybe the one you'd see the most likely would be Michelle Pfeiffer, because she was supposed to be in the Catwoman movie that evolves into that crappy Halle Berry one.
Mm-hmm.
And this would kind of be like give her closure because she did survive at the end of Batman Returns. And of course, what about Joker and Penguin? Well, the Flash happened.
Michelle Danny DeVito is still doing some stuff, so I mean, it could happen. Or they're all. Here's an idea. Here's my rumor. Every villain has grown older and is now mentoring other versions of the villain. So there's a penguin mentoring an army of penguins, or an army of chickens.
The chicken.
The penguin is my name. You have to be the chicken.
Yes.
Or the puffin. Maybe I don't feel super quick to just say, get everyone back, but that's probably because of how I've heard from you how poorly a huge crossover can go when it's shoehorned together.
Here's another curveball. Last one.
All right.
Now, they were going to do a third one with Michael Keaton when Tim Burton was still in charge, and then we switched over to Schumacher, which I think it was a better decision. I think Batman Forever is better than what Burton had planned. But he did cast a Robin. Tim Burton did.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, I think, Marlon Wayans. Is that who it was? Yeah, Marlon Wayans. So Marlon Wayans was going to be Robin before Chris O'Donnell.
I got it. All right.
Could Marlon Wayans, if this Michael Keaton thing happens, could Marlon Wayans have his chance to play Dick Grayson?
Oh.
Maybe even just like we see him on a computer screen or something.
Mm-hmm. That it kind of reminds me of how they after the talks and rumors years before that, when they finally got Nicolas Cage to be Superman.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't that just was it in Teen Titans?
Teen Titans Go to the movies.
Sorry, I don't know the statuses of it, but would it be possible to get the guy who originally played Robin?
Chris O'Donnell? How would you feel about... I mean, he was with two Batmen, but I kind of link him with Kilmer.
So yeah. I gotcha.
Like, when I think of Chris... Yeah, he's with Val Kilmer and also Clooney, but Kilmer's the one that first comes to mind.
Yeah, I see what you're saying now. Then it would make a lot of sense to...
It's a little bit like, do we want Burt Ward with someone who isn't Adam West?
Yeah, I hadn't thought of it. I think that is a better choice then to get sort of...
I'd love Chris O'Donnell to come back, but if it had been Val Kilmer or Clooney. So there we go with our little bit on the best live-action Batman. Some people will say, oh, you mean Christian Bale? No. We're talking about this guy, right? I had to show it one last time. We're talking about that guy right there. Michael Keaton.
There he is.
The best live-action Batman.
There he is. I mean, really, we probably, one or two rabbit holes would probably get us there, so.
All right. We'll rapid fire it. All right. A lot of these are inspired by what we had today. See, it all connects.
Ooh.
All right. Who is your Batman? Which one do you feel the most ownership over? Now, I could probably say live action and animation. I don't know if you probably can't say animation, right?
Yeah, probably not. I mean, not. Really, to get into my answer, I mean, like, I don't know that I feel like a sense of ownership where it's like that's my Batman. It feels like a special connection. The closest I could say, as we talked about earlier, since I had that like experience of where I just felt like there's this classic sense to Batman Forever that like maybe just in retrospect, because Val Kilmer was Batman in that might be the closest thing I have to that sensation. That's kind of the movie where it's just like most people wouldn't say that's their favorite, but in a way that feels like it's my Batman movie. So,
Although more people have been coming up and saying that since Schumacher died.
and I'm glad.
I know. See, this isn't fair that they talk about after he dies, but
Yeah, we were talking about it. We've talked about liking Batman
Yes.
Forever before on here. So as close as I can get to, I mean, that's my answer. Which, by the way, is there a streaming service with specifically Batman Forever, but any of them on it? Because
HBO Max.
I thought it might be.
All 4 of the Batman movies are on there, and so
Beautiful.
are the Christopher Reeve Superman.
Because I feel like it's been a while since I've seen Batman Forever, so I just have this feeling that if I were to watch it again, I might have that sensation where I was like, ah, yes, my Batman.
You know, some people are campaigning for there to be an extended cut because there was apparently 50 minutes of footage cut.
Whoa, 50 minutes. Huh.
Which, if it did happen, oh my God.
That's amazing.
I'd be so hyped.
That's amazing. Well, we already know your Batman, as we put it.
Yes. Yes. For live action, it is Michael Keaton. Well, I guess overall the whole Burton Schumacher series. But my Batman, the one I have the most ownership of, is the one from Batman the Animated Series, Kevin Conroy.
So
Yes,
a
that's
twist.
a little twist. That's my Batman.
Yeah.
All right. Now, this might be difficult for you to answer, but who is your Superman?
Oh, actually, you know what? I would say, really, because it's the only like experience I had. Like, it was sort of my Superman was watching Smallville. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I was into Smallville. So in a way, that felt like my introduction to the character, and I feel a more of a personal connection to the character because of the way it was introduced in that series. So, definitely Smallville.
Yeah, same answer for me. Smallville, Tom Welling is my Superman. Did you hear about how, I think it was yesterday, they've been doing Tom Welling, Michael Rosenbaum, Kristen Kruk, Erica Durance. We're all doing like these virtual Smallville thing to raise money for a charity or something.
Oh, is it sort of like I've been seeing a lot of there's been a lot of cast reunions over like Zoom call type things.
Yeah, something like
kind of thing?
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
There we go. Our Superman's doing stuff.
There he is. Flying.
All right. Who is your Spider-Man? Which one do you take the most ownership over? Like, that's mine. Maybe not like ownership, but more like, we've had multiple iterations, and you're like, this is one version. This one is
like,
Spider-Man.
Yeah, no, it feels like the one you grew up with or you had the most personal connection to, and when you think of it, you think of that person. I understand it in that sense, and that's why my answer is Tobey Maguire.
Oh, yes. So, for me, in live action, it would be Tobey Maguire, but who was my Spider-Man is Christopher Daniel Barnes in the 90s Spider-Man cartoon. All right. Yes. So, all right. We'll rapid fire through the rest of these. You can only have one streaming service forever. Which one?
I mean, honestly, I probably would say Netflix. It's a boring answer, but it might be the one you use the least. But I think it's the one I use the most because I watch the kind of stuff that's on there the most. Just weird stand-up crap in old TV shows and stuff. So I don't know. I think it would be Netflix.
All right, for me, now HBO Max is kind of in its infancy. They're still moving a lot of stuff over.
Yeah.
Like we've seen, it looks like they're shutting down the DC streaming service and moving stuff over there, like the Harley Quinn animated show.
Yeah.
So for right now, I'll say Disney Plus because you have all the Marvel and Simpsons stuff.
Yeah, that was going to be my second choice, but yeah.
But eventually, I would have to say HBO Max. But right now, it's Disney Plus. All right. What is the worst series finale you've ever seen?
Give yours first. I'm going to take a second to think.
Mine is a pretty recent one. It is the Arrow series finale. It was awful. So in the episode before, 2 episodes beforehand, Green Arrow died. Now, mind you, this is like the 3rd time he died in this crossover. So by this point, it has no meaning. You're like, whatever, let's get this over with. And it was basically kind of like a rehab. It was basically everything we've seen before. Like his son, for like the 6th time, gets kidnapped. And eventually you gotta say, hey, just let him go. There's no point in saving him if it's this much effort. And they retcon, because of Crisis, they retconned a bunch of stuff. So a bunch of characters who died never really died. And then the final scene is awful, where this character, the Monitor, takes his wife Felicity to the quote-unquote afterlife. Basically, she killed herself, in a way, I guess, because she couldn't come back. And she told her kids, you need to watch each other. So she left her kids and basically died to be with Green Arrow, which, hey, it ain't a toxic relationship unless it's one about Oliver and Felicity.
Yeah.
There you go. And then the final scene is so cringeworthy bad. It's like, and you could tell they were directed to have it be awful. It's basically, they're talking about how they first met. And it turns out it wasn't how they really met, because Oliver saw her before one time, and he goes, it's a long story, but luckily we have all the time in the world for me to tell it to you. And I was like, what is this crap? Oh, it was awful. And yeah, it was it's awful. It was bad. Yeah. Maybe we'll get to it in episode 100, but it's bad.
Yeah.
And the worst thing is they killed off Green Arrow, and they said, well, we already know how we'll bring him back. Well, then why'd you do it in the first place then? Yeah, whatever.
I mean, I'm trying to think, like, I don't feel like there's any shows that shows today that I really, which I guess I feel fairly lucky that, like, I can't think of a show where I really hate like, a lot of the shows I like had pretty great series finales, like The Office and such, but the only thing that really came to mind is a popularly disliked one, but I mean, I also wasn't too big into the finale of Lost, but
JJ, always creating those divisive fan service endings.
But I never had as much rage or disappointment about it as many, but I see why it's disappointing.
It wasn't like the whole thing was a dream or something.
Yeah, or it was like they were all in, I feel like maybe they were all like in heaven, and like the entire thing like wasn't really in the real world or something. I don't know.
You know what my disappointment was with the Lost finale, even though I've never watched an episode of the show?
Yeah.
Do you know what I wanted it to be called?
Like the name of the show?
Yeah.
Oh.
I wanted the finale to be called Found. That's all I wanted.
Yeah, what a missed opportunity.
That's all I wanted.
It doesn't even matter if that's what happens in it. Just call it that.
Yeah. I don't even... Well, it was probably just called Finale or something, but I wanted it to be called Found.
Yeah.
All right. In honor of this Michael Keaton story, what modern DC hero would you want to see team up with a classic version? Maybe I'll go. I would love to see. I'll just go with. I would love to see Tyler Hoechlin's Superman with Michael Keaton's Batman.
Interesting.
So one that's modern and one with a classic.
I mean, honestly, I'm having trouble not just also choosing Michael Keaton or something. You know, maybe I'll fully suck up to the Schumacher movies, or specifically Val Kilmer, and say I'll say Val Kilmer, and I'll say like Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman.
Okay, that's actually a good choice.
Yeah.
All right, now modern Marvel hero team up with a classic. So mine, I guess I'll cheat a little.
All right.
Because this one kind of recently ended, but who knows? Maybe they'll come back. I'll say, now normally I would try to think of Spider-Man, but I was trying to think of who would work best together.
Yeah.
I would say Chris Evans, Captain America, with Hugh Jackman's Wolverine.
That's a good idea. What about... I was initially trying to think of who would go well with Tobey Maguire, but I am now also tripping up trying to think of...
Maybe Robert Downey Jr. would. Or
that would be
Mark
good.
Ruffalo's Hulk.
Yeah, I was trying to think of something like that. I think that...
Or Thor.
I kind of did want to choose modern Thor with trying to think of something. I don't know that would work with Tobey Maguire necessarily, though. I think that Tobey Maguire and Robert Downey Jr. sounds like a good pairing. It's kind of weird to think that those movies are only 6 years apart. Like the first...
Well, actually, Spider-Man 3 and Iron Man 1 are only 1 year apart.
Yeah, I guess if you're... But even the beginning of...
And then the original plan was for them to overlap with Spider-Man 4.
Oh, yeah.
If it had gotten made.
Huh. It doesn't feel like a classic and contemporary when you put it as only 1 year apart.
All right, here's a little thinker. Which two versions of Batman would you like to see team up?
I mean, off the top of my head, I think Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton would be a cool pairing.
It does sound like it would be cool. I think the one I'll go with, just for something different, maybe I'll go Val Kilmer and Adam West.
Ah.
How would they act around each other?
Yeah.
You have one who's like the tortured and one who's the optimist.
Yeah. What about Kevin Conroy, but just animated? Animated and a live action. Well,
no, I changed my mind. I want Kevin Conroy and Adam West.
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
Oh, that would have been so cool.
Yeah.
They did team up in a Batman the Animated Series episode, but
yeah.
Adam West was playing an original character.
To be clear, I am talking about like a Roger Rabbit situation where there's an animated
that would be awesome. Joker's poisoned the water supply and Batman sees a cartoon version of himself.
Yeah.
All right. Which two versions of Superman would you like to see team up? I think it would be interesting to see Tom Welling team up with the Superman Returns version, because Superman Returns is almost like a tragic version of the character where he left Earth moved on without him. If you count Crisis, he lost his Lois. I think it would be very cool to have Tom Welling see a Superman who lost everything and still remains hopeful.
That's a pretty cool pairing for that reason. I would definitely defer to that, certainly. I mostly because, like I said, if my Superman is Smallville's, then I just want to see something paired with that. So
yes. All right. Which two versions of Spider-Man would you like to see team up?
Well, I guess I think that I definitely would want one of them to be Tom Holland, and the reason is that he clearly is very good in ensembles. Because
that's true.
I mean, I do think that Andrew Garfield might pair well with it. Like they might be able to have good banter together. I guess for something different, I'll say that, because I'm always tempted to choose Tobey Maguire, but yeah.
I'll say mine will be animated. I would say Josh Keaton from The Spectacular Spider-Man with Jake Johnson from Into the Spider-Verse. Because I think we have a young Spider-Man with old Spider-Man, because of different dynamics, see what would happen.
Yeah.
All right. Here's one, because recently it was 4th of July. So I feel like everyone needs to be asked this question.
All right.
Did you watch Hamilton?
I haven't yet. I'm planning on watching it at some point, but I haven't seen it.
I watched it, and during that time, I kept thinking, I don't get what everyone's talking about. Because I thought, now they sing the whole time, there's no speaking.
Yeah.
I thought it was cheesy.
Yeah, I mean, musicals are cheesy, so I'm not surprised about that, but I think
it feels like something I think would work better as like a 3-minute bit on Sesame Street.
I mean, The only thing, like, the thing is, I don't really like musicals, so I don't think I'm expecting to be as blown away as most people just by nature of it being a musical. I do appreciate, like, I do think it's kind of amazing that there is such a revered modern contemporary musical. So part of me wants to like it and think it's amazing because of that. And I will also say, I find from hearing the music a little bit, I find it much less annoying than most musical music.
And you know what the worst part was? I know there are people who love Hamilton. Good for you. That's awesome. I was not a fan.
Yeah.
You know what the worst part was?
What?
I know he dies in a duel in real life. Spoiler alert. But is it really a spoiler if it's real and it happened 200 years ago? I don't think so.
Yeah.
So you see him get shot in the duel, okay? And I'm like, oh, thank God this thing is over. But it's not. Because you know what happens? Yo, I'm looking at this bullet. This bullet is going to end my life. What am I going to accomplish? Because I'm Alexander Hamilton. What did I accomplish? I never became president. Where am I going to be? Just on the $10 bill? I was just like, oh my God, just die already. Just die already.
That's how all musicals feel. Like, they're all like kind of melodramatic, and I mean, I don't want to be on the side. I haven't seen it yet, but I don't. I'm afraid to be on the side of not liking it because of how
I wished I
into
liked it,
people
but
are.
it was rough. It was
I
rough
don't
to
know.
sit through. I don't get what everyone is seeing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't entirely get what everyone's seeing about musicals in general. I can't get into the over-the-topness of it, but I guess a lot of people have an ability to get into a different headspace of disbelief, which I can appreciate, but I don't know. I mean, personally, the other thing, I get what you're saying, because it's a musical with rapping, and the rapping is really enunciated and musical and cheesy at times. But the other thing, to me, I think that bad rapping or like a bad rap song is way, way better than a terrible like show tune style musical that you'd hear in Cats or something. Like, that's what I can't stand about musicals. So that's the other thing that I'm like, I do think I will enjoy the music. Even at the cheesiest moments, I think I will enjoy the music more than most musicals.
Oh, they have the very cliche kind of trying to be high class lame jokes that the Broadway audience would love.
Oh.
Like I'm trying to think, what is oh, should we have the red one or the white one? Oh, Joseph, you know how cheap the Henriksons are? Go for the white, and then you hear,
Us bourgeoisie love to make fun of wine. Yeah.
Oh, yes, the red wine is special occasions. All right, here we go with the last question. Final one for our big Michael Keaton extravaganza. All right, we have Michael Keaton returning as Batman, possibly in The Flash.
Yeah.
If you had your choice, which Superman would you have pop up? Now, mind you, this is taking place now. So, unfortunately, we don't have Christopher Reeve anymore. We don't have George Reeves, and we don't have Kirk Allen. So, those three you can't use.
Yeah.
So, but which Superman, if they did have Superman, which of them returning would you want to have in The Flash?
With Superman not being my area of expertise, can I just say Tom Welling again?
Sure, why not?
Well, I mean, like, well, actually, maybe I'll take it back, because, I mean, was that in Crisis of Infinite Earths that it did not work out very well with him coming back? Or
Yeah, but they could undo it. They could just
yeah,
pretend Crisis never happened.
yeah, that could be good. It's like we can get the return of Tom Welling that we deserve.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say, logically, I'd almost would say Brandon Routh, because he's technically the Christopher Reeve Superman. But I would say if we're going to go for it, get Tom Welling. That's the one that I think would excite most people of a returning Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there we go for
Wonderful.
our episode of Comments Section, which we talked about for the first time actually in our lifetime. There was news about Michael Keaton as Batman.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it never happened before in our life.
It's weird that, like, we thought there'd be, like, no news with Hollywood shut down and going into quarantine, and then, like, some, like, things we thought never would happen all just started happening.
You know, there has been some cool stuff that's been coming up.
Yeah.
So there we go with this, and we fell down that rabbit hole multiple times.
We did, as we always do. So thanks for listening to all of this rabbit hole and all this news.
All right, and always, people, remember and forever to keep falling down that rabbit hole.